Greetings Earthlings, and here we are once again. This tutorial focuses on understanding the anatomy of the article layout builder, and it has nothing to do or little to nothing to do with best practices. Elements and formatting will take a back seat this time around, except for the article text element, which we will touch on towards the end of this tutorial. Mastering the article layout builder requires experimentation and practice. Let's start and see what the Astroid article layout builder can do, and the best part is that changes made in the layout builder will apply to multiple articles in the same category. We covered the nitty-gritty of how this works in previous tutorials. Let's get cracking. Let's begin by visiting the Astroid article layout builder. To do this, we navigate to our system section, Site Template Styles, and select our default Astroid template. Next, we click on Template Options and locate the Article Blog Settings section. Within this section, we find the Article Layout Builder, where you'll find the current layout we're interested in, the tour layout. Now, this layout applies to all articles in the tour category. In a previous tutorial, we applied the following background colors: purple, blue, and pink. And purple was applied to Astroid elements, blue was assigned to core Joomla components, and pink was assigned to hybrid elements. At this point, it is mission critical to be as precise as possible and recognize that what we are looking at here is essentially one single section. In this particular article layout template, our template is all arranged in one section, which is broken down further into separate areas, which we're going to call rows. We've got 3 rows, one at the top, in the middle, and at the bottom, all containing columns, be that 1 column, 2 columns, or 1 column. If we were beginning to construct a template similar to this from scratch, we would commence by adding a section using the New Section option. Subsequently, we would add rows by utilizing the New Row option. Now, we're going to accomplish this later when we construct our course template from scratch, but for the moment, we'll concentrate on modifying our existing layout. If you have any questions or tips to share, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's start from the top and work our way down. First, we're going to look for that little edit button to the right of the top section. We're going to have to hover over it, and it looks like a pen. Clicking the edit button allows us to make changes that affect the entire article layout. We are, after all, looking at one section here. We'll navigate to the design settings and look for the border option settings. We switch the border style from none to dotted. Select a color and bump up our pixel size so it's obvious what we are doing here. Save the changes and save again. Refresh the front end to observe what we updated, and we see our dotted border framing the article layout in its entirety. In the front end, let's navigate to another article in the same tour category and observe that the changes ripple through. We return to our main example article, and before moving on down to the next row in our article layout, let's return to our section settings one more time by clicking the appropriate edit button. And again, in the design settings, we will make another modification, this time affecting the background of our article layout. Essentially, what we're dealing with here is anything behind our elements, be they Joomla or Astroid, placed in different areas of our site. We save and save again, refresh the front end and note the changes. And again, let's navigate to another article in the same tour category and observe that the changes ripple through. And next up, we're going down one more level and we're going to look at some column layout formatting. Now, previously we located the edit button next to our Astroid section in the back end of our tour template. But we also have edit buttons above each column within the different rows of our site. So in the top and bottom rows, we have one edit button for the one column that we have. And in the middle row, we have two edit buttons, one per column. Now for demonstration purposes, let's change the background color and padding for both the top and bottom rows of our site, each containing a single column which in turn contains different elements. We start near the top, where we navigate to the column settings for the single column in the top row, and we click on the column edit icon, and we really have to keep our wits about us when working with columns in our Astroid section, as the edit buttons only appear as we roll over the top right-hand corner of the column in question. And in the Design tab in the Background Type section, we switch from a none to color and add a color. Scrolling further down the Design Settings page, for demonstration purposes, we're going to add some padding. We're going to enter 4 times 100. Save. And we're going to repeat this process for the bottom row at the bottom of our article section. Now for reference, padding controls the internal spacing within an element, whilst margin controls the external spacing between our elements. To be very clear, I am not suggesting for 1 minute that adding a fixed number to the padding settings in a responsive web design universe is a good idea. And much of what follows will also be for demonstration purposes and doesn't by any stretch of the imagination reflect best practices. We save the changes, save again, and refresh the front end. Clicking through all of our articles in the tour category in the front end, we see that these changes have been applied across the board. Later in this series, we will also look at formatting a different set of articles in the photography category. But for the moment, let's just glance at an article in the photography category and note that none of these changes are rippling through to it. Now, looking at the middle area, or rather row, which is divided into 2 columns, you don't have to be a genius to figure out where this is in the front end. Now for a laugh, we could grab these columns from the middle row, one by one, and place them in, for example, the empty space below the currently bottom row. Save, and refresh the front end. Yikes! This is obviously a mess, so let's put it back the way it was. Now when dragging, we are always looking for the cross arrow symbol. Similar to the edit button, we need to roll over the top right-hand corner of the column and wait for the symbol to appear. Back on course, we look for the edit icon for the first of our 2 columns in the middle row. We click it, and once again we dive straight into the design settings. In the background type section, we notice that we have other options, so apart from just a simple color. Let's try some of them, for example, inserting an image. Save, and we'll do something very similar in the second column in the middle row. Let's add a custom gradient. Save, save again, and refresh. And observe our changes. Things are really looking pretty horrible at this point, but let's press on. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out the rest of the videos in this deep dive series, for more Joomla and Astroid tips. Now let's examine an example where we modify the formatting of a single specific element, which will, in its own roundabout way, have a knock-on effect on the entire layout. The article text element, located in the left-hand column. And without wanting to give too much away, we will use the article text along with out-of-the-box Joomla functionality such as the Read More option later in this series. But for now, we are looking at the straightforward article text. Going down one more level and hovering and waiting for the appropriate symbol next to an element, we'll click on the Edit button and then move straight to the design settings for, in this case, our blog article text. Now, we notice that I already have a background color of baby blue. I set this up previously for demonstration purposes. And scrolling down to the bottom section, we'll find the padding settings. And we're going to enter 250 pixels at the top and at the bottom. Save and save again. Refresh the front end. Now, in many ways, at this point, we're technically breaking our site on some devices, but this is all in the interest of demonstrating some principles. Speaking of devices, let's also note that at the top of our article layout page, we can switch between devices and have different settings for different devices. The possibilities really are endless. Now, because the template we are working with just so happens to have a light and dark mode, we're going to make a simple change for demonstration purposes. But before we make any changes, let's locate the light-dark mode switch in the front end and switch the mode. A whole pile of things are changing here. Most of these changes are beyond the scope of what we are currently discussing. However, for the moment, let's just notice that we still have the article with a baby blue background, regardless of which mode we are in. Returning to the back end, in the design settings for the article text element, we notice that we have the option to add a second color. And this is specifically a dark background color. Let's just do that. We save and refresh the front end. And again, we can toggle here the light and dark mode and observe how this works. And let's not forget to check out the changes applied to multiple articles. And we can change these settings at multiple levels in the article layout builder. And the possibilities are endless. While we made many of these changes for demonstration purposes, they highlight the flexibility and power of the Astroid framework. This gets really powerful when combined with some of Joomla's core features like article categories, access levels, and user groups. We have already covered categories in depth, and we will get to access levels and user groups later in this series. Next time around, we're going to look at some more detailed examples of making specific changes to our elements, be they Astroid or core Joomla, and observe how they ripple through multiple articles in the same category.